This is the Spurs POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
When you're getting ready to depart or have since departed for one of the lengthiest road trips of the season, as advertised every year as the most daunting road trip of the season, to go out there and get a blowout win and have your star put up a 40-piece and at the same time have a light day at the office, I would say tonight was pretty much a win for the San Antonio Spurs on many fronts. Welcome into the Spurs POSTCAST right here on Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, of course, the #1 sports podcast network in the world. The Spurs looking #1 in the world tonight when the opposition comes out there looking a little bit beat up and undermanned. They firmly take advantage of it tonight in Los Angeles against the Lakers, a 136-108 laugher, start to finish, completely taking care of business tonight over there, up there, out west, I guess, out there at the crypto.com arena. He, of course, NBA champion Devin Brown. My name is Casey Viera. Everything you needed to see, my friend, anchored by a 40 ball from Victor Wembanyama to get the rodeo road trip off to a good start.
Casey, not a whole lot going on out there in LA tonight, but let's break it down because we got some stuff to talk about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
So the Lakers couldn't do the Spurs any favors last night. Lost to Oklahoma City. Had they won, would have pulled the Spurs back within 3 games. Not the case anymore. But as a result, on the tail end of a back-to-back, that means no LeBron. Luka already out. DeAndre Ayton out. Austin Reeves out already. Marcus Smart. So they are running out very much a patchwork squad tonight against the Spurs. The second time that we've kind of seen this situation in a week or so span. And I don't know what this says, but the other being the Thunder, when they came to San Antonio and they ran out 8 guys and they took the Spurs down to the wire. The complete contrary tonight, as this was not close in any capacity. And off the jump, Victor doing something that we've only seen 2 other Spurs do better. And I will explain, because in the first 8 minutes of the game, he goes for 25 points in the first 8 minutes of the game. It's the 3rd most points in a quarter in San Antonio history, and they're off and running. They're up by 17 after 1. Ultimately go up by 29 at half. Wemby's total goes to 37 at the break. He ultimately hits that 40 ball. It took him a little bit come the 3rd quarter. He was getting his looks that wouldn't go down, and finally, with about 4 minutes left to go, he hits a 3, checks out of the game. He ultimately hits that 40-point mark. Lakers, or I should say the Spurs, already up big, just kind of window dressing at that point, if you will. Final line reads 40 points, 12 rebounds in 26 minutes of work. The 40 points showing that he has tonight, it's his 6th so far in San Antonio, as we know. And as a result, it passes Tim Duncan all time. TD had 4 40-point games. Carter Bryant, 16 points tonight as well off the bench. Harper with 15, Fox with 8 and 6. And above all else, on the first of a back-to-back, the Spurs don't have to play any of their stars. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, so I had a different take on this situation, Casey. First with OKC, and then with the Lakers sitting out a majority of their players.
Yeah,
it's kind of disrespectful. The Spurs are having a good season, and you always want to play against the top teams in the West. And this is another time that a team is sitting out a majority of their players. So, I looked at it, and when you're a player and you show up to the arena, when you walk in the locker room, your name will be up there, who you're matched up against, things like that. And if I'm Jake Arabia, I probably started throwing up when I realized that I had to guard Vic. Like, are you serious? Because Vic fouled him out in the first 8 minutes. You're talking about he was going at him. Vic took it very, like disrespect. Why is this guy guarding me? There's no way in the world.
Sorry to cut you off. 5 fouls in the first half and then fouled out.
5 fouls. Exactly. And so Vic went right at him, and that's what you're supposed to do. And what it was is, you hear that, Vic, had grandma there when she's in the building. He just erupts. So, he came out on fire. And Casey, he was just, that young man was just balling.
Mm-hmm. No, he took care of business. He made short work And part of it, you wonder, this is, again, maybe one of these growth type deals. The idea of playing down to competition, because just a week ago with that Oklahoma City spot, this is a game that the Spurs should have. Well, I mean, they were up 17 in the first quarter in that Oklahoma City game, and then it ended up being tight. But maybe they learned from their mistakes, if you will, that night, and as a result, put their foot down tonight and took care of business. Ultimately, they shoot 57% from the field, 39% from deep, 13 steals tonight. Not a bad number in itself. The 40-point mark, of course, is just, I was going to say a little more than 24 hours, probably 72 over the weekend. Last time out, Stephon Castle, of course, the 40-point triple-double last go around against the Mavericks. With the back-to-back 40-point showings, they become, Wemby and Castle, they become the first Spurs to do that since the 84 season. That was Gervin and Mike Mitchell. So a lot of good things along the way. We'll hit back on Stephon Castle because if there is anybody who did not have a great night, it was him. We'll explain it a little bit. We'll preface it by saying he's okay. What I liked out of tonight was the fact that they got it done early. They got it out the way early. And they, in addition to letting the stars rest, which they did plenty, you also got a pretty good look at a lot of the other guys. And I think what was encouraging kind of about this was that you see more of the reps for Carter Bryant, who put up 16, got the post-game interview with Chris Miles at the end. I think that's the first time that's happened this year too. So good for him for that. But that's, I feel like, one of the things that, so when you see kind of these blowouts like this, it's always, the stars, you don't see them in the fourth quarter. That's the good thing. That's rest them. And it's true. But I think for something like this, getting these younger guys out there, getting the reps, getting the burn, you'll love to see it. And they took advantage of it tonight.
Yeah, they did. And it's big for them because every minute counts, whether you're up 30 like tonight, or even if you're down 30, you got to take advantage of your minutes. Been there, done that, know all about that. So it's very valuable, to know that what's going on out there. Just keep your man in front of you, and on the other end, hit some shots. And that's what Carter Bryant's doing a great job of. The first half, I'm not going to really talk about his second half, but the first half, when he was out there playing with some of the starters, he looked really good, hitting those corner threes, getting to the basket, making good passes. And every day, every opportunity he's out there able to play, he's looking more and more comfortable.
14 points in that first half. Bit of a homecoming, of course, the California guy himself. Whole lot to love for Carter Bryant. This we did not love, though. Usually when we talk about turning points, when we hit this button over here, it's a little bit more in relation to the X's and O's and the end probably of the game. This had no impact on the end result, but instead the turning point and something I guess you could say that probably killed the vibes a little bit.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, closing minutes of the second quarter, Stephon Castle doing Stephon Castle type things, playing like a madman, putting his body on the line. He goes up, he blocks a dunk in transition, lands hard on his back, is down for a few minutes. The whole team's coming out there because Castle's face down, just kind of laying there, minimal movement. Thankfully, he's okay to a certain extent, but because he's moving his legs, but there's genuine concern at that point. He pops back up, walks to the bench, walks on out of there. It's a pelvic contusion, what the team is saying. X-rays are negative, and you operate. Oh, yes, he did not return, in case you're wondering. And you kind of operate under the assumption that regardless of the game being a blowout, we probably wouldn't have returned anyways. And you wonder maybe what happens with Golden State tomorrow if he is there, which I'm not particularly sure is going to be the case given the fall, because it was not particularly a pretty one at that. But I think if anything else, what we kind of got out of that was that, hey, we need this guy, but it's hard to stop someone like that who plays that way, who plays that aggressive, when they get hurt doing something that they do. You just kind of live with it, but it's a very much a hold your breath type of moment, right?
Yeah, definitely. At 22, he's playing all out. He's playing the way, the reason why he's gotten into the league, right? Now at 32, once he secures, his contract once that's over. He'll learn in games like this, stay as close to the ground as you can. And so I'll just leave that at that.
Hey, at 32, he might not have a choice at that point. Might not be able to get up that high, even if he wanted to.
That's why you gotta stay as close to the ground as you can, Casey.
That's why you got to stay low to the ground. Exactly. Hey, what did you take out of the Lakers side of this, if anything? Because now there's a reasonable chance that these two teams can meet in the postseason at some point. By taking the third of their 4 meetings this year, the Spurs now clinch the tiebreaker. So while they got I believe now a 5.5 game lead over them in the standings in the West, at least in the home court side of things. Home court could always play a factor in some capacity, or the tiebreaker, I should say. So that's a good thing going on the Spurs side. But for me, I watched this Laker game tonight, and again, to keep going back to the OKC side of things, I'm like, I'm not anticipating, if I'm JJ out there, if I'm JJ Redick, head coach, I'm not particularly out there anticipating, I don't want to say a win, but effort, energy, something. I mean, Fox was walking all over these dudes, man.
Yeah, right.
Fox, I don't know if it was Kobe Buffkin's pocket who he picked, the one where he had the steal in transition and then had double pumped on the feed off the glass, and he just pretty much walked that whole way through on the lob to Victor. But I was like, man, is this a culture thing? What do you take out of the Lakers right now?
Well, let's break it down. DeAndre Ayton was out. All right. He dodging Wemby. Got it. Marcus Smart. They had a tough game last night, OKC. I guess, he's to the stage where he didn't want to deal with Fox or deal with Castle. Luka's been out, and LeBron, has earned the right to not play in back-to-backs. So there you go. That's what it is. Now, the other part of that, what it is that you're talking about, as far as the state of where they're at, it was a little confusing having all of those guys out, seeing where they are in the playoff standings. Either they're knowing something I don't know, or they're just trying to stay 4 or 5 because they're not scared of OKC, but they just played them, and everybody saw the comments. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea what it is that the Lakers are doing, but it's like I said before, Casey, when that plane landed in LA and you got the reports on who was in, who was out, we're starting the rodeo trip. That's all we can be concerned is playing well. They did that. They got out of there with a win, and you won't have to see those guys for a little while.
Yeah, they're done with the Lakers this year. That's their last get together. Talk about, you can only worry about who's on your schedule. Listen, they got a team that's banged up, and it happens. You caught them on the right time, caught them, and you can't do anything about it. You go out there and you beat the team that's in front of you that they did. And now they'll try to do the same again tomorrow night, or I guess in the Central Time Zone. We are already past midnight, so a little bit later on today. But they're being the Golden State Warriors, going to be looking a little bit different from when beat San Antonio all the way back in November, twice in a 48-hour span, down Stephen Curry, down Jimmy Butler. So coming up on the other side of the break, we'll revisit that little 2-game mini playoff series and what has changed for the better for the Spurs and what we've kind of learned since then about this Spurs team. Got that for you and a little bit more following a convincing San Antonio dub tonight, starting off the rodeo road trip on a high, taking care of the Undermanned Lakers 136-108, moving to 37-16 on the season. But before we do all that, continue the conversation, we step aside to talk about a few of our friends who help in driving this program. One of those, of course, being our pals at ZocTalk. As you know, finding a doctor you actually like, it's kind of like finding a diamond in the rough, right? You want someone who's in network, yes, but nearby, has availability, but you also want a doctor who listens and makes you feel comfortable, right? That's actually a thing that actually does exist, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. It's a free app and website that helps you find and book high quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering over 200 specialties from primary care, dentistry, dermatology, eye care, everything. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. Also got a message coming to you from our friends over at Wayfair. New Year is here, well established. It's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh the space you got in your home, because you might as well love how it looks and how it feels, right? Especially if you're spending a lot of time there. That's why you got to turn to Wayfair. Everything from bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, restroom included. Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Everything you need, from updating the living room to your organizing space, any sort of living quarters. Their huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for you and your style and your budget. So get organized, refreshed, and back on track for this new year for way less. Head on over to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. WAYFAIR.com with Wayfair. Every style and every home. Being in a comfortable home will get you through our favorite time of the season, because it is right on deck. And that, of course, being tax season. Listen, it doesn't have to take over your life. TurboTax is making it easier to make sure that's exactly the case. You hand things off to them and then you move on with your day. With their TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local pro, start to finish, without the stress, no guesswork. They handle everything you're looking for, from W-2s, self-employed forms, and work to get you every single deduction. So for a limited time, you can have them done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150, all in, if the expert did not file for you last year. And we're running out of time to do it. February 28th, you have to file by. So take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Rodeo road trip underway, and a dub on the good side of things for the San Antonio Spurs tonight. And now they travel quick plane ride north out there in California to take on their pals, the Golden State Warriors, who last time they crossed paths was very early into the season. And we think about all the conversations that we were having. It feels like a different season entirely. Think about where we were, what happened. They got swept in the 2-game homestand.
Mhm.
Curry dominates both games. In the second game of the 2, Fox puts on a disaster class and misses 4 shots in the final 2 minutes, 3 with the chance to tie and take the lead. Remember, if I'm not mistaken, he also has the decisive foul on Curry in that game too. Wemby gets hurt that game with the calf issue. You're thinking everything's going to be spiraling here. And all that good little energy we had at the start of the season, the 5-0 to start the year, it's like, okay, Victor's hurt. Fox can't make a big play to save his life. What are we going to do? And here we are right now, the Spurs within puncher's chance of the 1 seed. And Golden State, since then, of course, unfortunately, losing Jimmy Butler, tearing his ACL. Stephen Curry going to be out through the All-Star break. The fan base over there as a whole is annoyed, because there's the false optimism that they thought they were in on Giannis when they weren't, and they end up with Porzingis instead. Different times, complete 180 on both sides from where we were when we got back together with them a few months back. But where do you see the Spurs team right now? What has changed from, I guess, a player's lens that you see out of them that we didn't see back in November?
Well, I mean, number one, right now they're playing some really good basketball. They're healthy. I know Castle is banged up, but whether he's in the lineup or not tomorrow, one of the things you're going to see is obviously Wemby's playing at a high level, and it starts with him. Fox, a little bit of a get back game for him on the road. I know when he was with Sacramento, he's had a lot of success in San Francisco, so he'll be geared up and ready for that game. If Castle is out, you slide Barnes in there in the starting lineup, and he usually plays well against his old team. So the difference is this team's played a lot more games together. They know what one another does. And when they move the ball like they did first half, this LA game, they have a pretty legit basketball team. So if they can carry that over against the Warriors, who are banged up, like you said, they should be okay.
Yeah, right now, if the season were to end today and we were to go by, I guess, chalk, if you will,
Right.
of how the playoffs would shake out, Golden State would be the 8th seed. I said thought they were going to be the 7, but they were going to be the 8. But realistically, yeah, this is the type of thing that the hypothetical that we threw out there is that Golden State's going to be a play-in team in all likelihood, and the Spurs in all likelihood are going to be the 1 or the 2 seed in the Western Conference. So very much this is starting to look like what very well could be a first-round playoff matchup against Golden State, and not particularly the one that I think any Spurs fan kind of wants for this squad going up against, the Warriors. And I know it's not ideal times for the Warriors, but as long as 30 suiting up out there, I mean, it's what it is, what it's going to be. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I wish Curry was playing on that front, because I think there is an element of them needing to get their get back a little bit after that, what happened in November. But I think this is a good chance for them to go out there, make a statement, and the road trip on a high. This has been a classic trap game in these situations, man. Tonight, but to be fair, to their credit, tonight was looking like a classic trap game in itself, right? Or everything that was written out.
Until I saw who was starting for the Lakers, and then I've never even heard of the guy that was at the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was one of those nights for the Lake Show.
Yeah.
It was one of those nights. They knew it was going to be a long night when they hit send on that injury report. And they knew it was going to be an even longer night after our player of the game tonight knocked down his first bucket.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Wemby getting his work done quick, easy, getting out of there, and everything you want to see if you're Mitch Johnson.
Yeah, I'll save it for the squad show, because superstars like Wemby, I don't think he should have came out until about that 6-minute mark in the second quarter. But I'll leave that for another time, Casey. But the minutes he was in there tonight, he was tremendous. He was hitting everything, getting to the rim, dunking with his left hand. He earned the reward tonight. I mean, putting up 40, 25, and whatever the minutes was is outstanding.
I had our fudged up button that we have here that we bring out on occasion. I had that all queued up for Mitch Johnson.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if Wemby was in the third quarter going on a 50 piece and he pulled him out at 47, he would have heard this.
Uh-oh, somebody messed up, and it's time to let him know with who fudged up.
Mitch Johnson would have gotten that treatment tonight.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, instead he didn't. Instead he gets the much better treatment. He gets to get out of here with a win, a 136-108 type of victory it is for the Spurs and company as they start the rodeo road trip on a high note. We, of course, will be back tomorrow night as the rodeo road trip continues for that aforementioned Warriors game, as Jeff Garcia will be with the title pod bright and early in the AM. Shout out to you guys. Good viewership. Over 150 of you checking in at 12:30 in the morning. Go to bed. Go to bed.
Yeah.
Seriously, go to bed. That's where we're going. I'm done, because we got another late night tomorrow, man. Schedule makers not doing the Locked On family any favors, but we love you guys. So if you're here, we'll be here, and vice versa. So time for us to get out of here. For my good buddy, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, I'm Casey Viera. Have a nice night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.